Welcome to Signature Song, a podcast where two friends get together and talk about an artist's discography in the hopes of finding the song that most represents their career. My name is Lane.
My name is Jorge.
Hello, Jorge.
Hey, Lane.
Today, good. How are you?
Pretty good. Continue.
Nice. So today we're going to be talking about one of the most celebrated performers of Latin American music of all time. In her brief life, she toured extensively, won a Grammy and several other notable awards, sold millions of records, and even following her tragic death, she sold millions more. Her career inspired and paved the way for countless others, including the very same woman who played her in a biopic a few short years after her passing. Of course, it can be none other than Selena Quintanilla.
And it is Selena, right? That was a point of some confusion to me because I grew up in Latin America hearing her referred to as Selena.
So I still feel unsure because I said Selena in the last episode, at the end of the episode when we were, announcing it. But so her Wikipedia says in Latin American Spanish, Selena Quintanilla, right?
Yeah.
But all the interviews that you see of her at the time, like she introduces herself as Selena.
Correct. And she's actually kind of adamant about it. She's like, it's Selena. You can tell that people have been mispronouncing her name at her for the entire time of her life in the public spotlight. But okay, so I'm going to be referring to her as Selena because that sounds like it's what it is, but there's going to be some mild discomfort over the course of the whole conversation for me because I just think of her as Selena.
I think I'm going to have the same problem. And I wonder, if this is like a little like microcosmic sort of like a distillation of some of like the questions around like identity that come up, I think, when Selena's music and like her role in like Tejano music, like, this, they talk about it in the movie. Abraham, her dad, says, it's really tough being Mexican American because for the Americans you're too Mexican and for the Mexicans you're too American. And I have to wonder if like this like tension with like how her name is pronounced even like is emblematic of some of those things.
Well, that's a very Lane approach at a very simple like pronunciation confusion. But I mean, maybe you're right. Maybe this is one of the expressions of that.
I just saw a meme today. It was like, I'd be having theories in the club, and that's totally me.
Yeah. There you go. Theories on the podcast. Tell me about your experience with Selena? Like, I can't imagine. I mean, of course, she's American. She was American, Mexican American. She was an international superstar, but I always saw her as such a Latino thing. Like growing up in Colombia, it's strange to me to imagine that she would be, present in the pop culture landscape of the United States. How did she end up in your periphery?
Well, before I answer that, I guess I'm curious because I don't think we've actually like in the amount of like extensive speaking about Selena we've done over the past couple of weeks, we've kind of gone a different approach this time instead of like not talking about our artists before the episode. But did they like play her a lot in Colombia?
Oh yeah.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, of course. And especially, I mean, she died in 1995, right? 94, 95. Yeah. So that was around the time that I was 7 years old. So when she died, of course, she reached a certain level of ubiquity that maybe, I mean, she was already extremely famous and successful, but you know what happens when an artist passes, especially in such a way that is tragic and sad. Of course, they play her all the time. She rises to myth status, right? And so I definitely heard her a bunch on the radio, on TV, people talking about her, the movie that came out shortly after. I mean, definitely she was an important figure. I don't recall whether her songs were that present in my young life before she passed. Probably they were to some extent, but the tragic ending of her life definitely propelled her into a whole different status. So yeah, I would say she's quite a big deal. She was definitely a big deal in the 90s and continues to be an important figure within the Latin American world.
Thank you so much for providing that context, because from my perspective, right, like as you said before, me coming from this, white Southern American like cultural context, like she didn't really like permeate the, I guess, commercial landscape until after she died, because that's when her English material was released. And the first song that I really like remember hearing all the time growing up, it was all over the radio, like in stores and on like the variety stations and like the hit stations, was I Could Fall in Love.
Oh,
And
interesting.
yeah, and I mean, I have a very clear recollection of like hearing that at like, after school, like kind of like it's sort of like a little daycare situation, like extended day is what they called it.
Yeah.
And like I that for the longest time, that was like the only song that I knew by Selena, even if I didn't know if it was like that it was actually by her. And it wasn't really until my 20s when the next song that I had probably heard, or osmotically like absorbed at some point, was Dreaming of You. And again, it's English. I mean, both of those songs have bridges that where she speaks in Spanish.
Yes. Which I'm
But
excited to talk about because I love a spoken word bridge.
do you really?
I do. I do. I love it when they do that. My favorite is Sugar Baby Love by the Rubettes. We'll talk about that at
Yeah.
some point.
So it's funny, and but with Dreaming of You, my association with that is a relationship that I was in at the time. So do you remember like when people on their phones, like you could call them, and instead of like you hearing like the ringing tone, you would hear like music as like hold music until it
Oh,
connected the call?
oh yeah, I remember that. I miss that.
Yeah. So my ex, for me, had Dreaming of You
Oh,
on their phone, and
that's sweet.
yeah, I really loved it. I really loved that song, but like I really didn't explore further until like in the last year or so, like Selena's like catalog, which like there's so much good stuff in
Of
it.
course, of course, but of course, there's that limitation of that thing that's gonna forever, or at least to some extent, keep her from fully penetrating culturally for a lot of U.S. listeners, which is that most of her stuff is in Spanish, right? Like
Yeah.
that's a built-in limiter for how big of a presence she can have in the artistic landscape. There's definitely that's going to stop her, like it's stopped a lot of musicians who've had enormous successful careers in Latin America, but have never quite broken through to the same level in the U.S. And of course, Selena was in the process of creating that crossover moment before her life was tragically cut short. And I wonder, we might talk about this later when we talk about some of those English language songs, but I wonder what her career would have looked like and if that crossover success would have been as successful if she had actually obtained what she was angling for, to be the next Gloria Estefan, to be the next sorry, in English I guess it's Gloria Estefan, but
Yeah,
to me
Esteban.
it's Gloria Estefan. Um, I wonder if she would have gotten to that level that she was clearly aiming for. I mean, we can never know, right? But it's an interesting thought experiment to wonder what her career would have looked like if she had been allowed to continue.
It's so funny that you bring up, like, because Gloria Estefan was mentioned specifically by the executives who like were trying to like sign her between EMI and Capitol. But I remember reading something in my research for this episode that I could have sworn, I don't want to like misquote her, but I think Selena said herself, or maybe she didn't say this herself because she seemed like pretty like humble, but somebody said about her that she could have been like the Latin American Madonna.
Wow.
Which is like, mind blowing to
talk
think
about
of.
ambition. Yeah. I mean, it's impossible to know, unfortunately. But
I think she would have been really successful. I have no doubt. Like,
yeah. And she's not like, I don't know, Jeff Buckley, right? Who was around for a few years and made some stuff that had some acclaim, and then his passing was what really made him enormously famous. Selena was not quite like that because she was already very successful while she was around, like massively successful. It's just a matter of how big and for how sustained that success would have been. That's got me wondering. So Selena has always sort of existed in my life. I've known of her and I've known some of these songs, but it's been a real pleasure to really explore her music over the last couple of weeks and listen to her more intently and try to think about these songs in a more active way rather than just kind of consuming them passively, because there's a lot going on in these little songs, and I have come away with a much greater appreciation of her artistry and of her singing and of the whole machine behind her. I think she was definitely a unique figure in pop music, and it's going to be fun to discuss these songs with you.
I'm really excited. I am developing, I think, a new favorite artist to add to my canon. After just going through the extreme pleasure of listening to these songs and listening to other songs and checking out live performances, I'm really excited to talk about Selena.
So not quite the same as the Smashing Pumpkins episode.
Yeah, I put in a lot more effort this time.
All right. Okay. All right. Let's talk about her. Let's go into our first contender for Selena's signature song. Released as the second single from Selena's third solo album, Entre a mi Mundo, Como la Flor was written by A.B. Quintanilla and Pete Astudillo, and she was already a major figure in the Tejano music scene by this point. She had been performing with Los Dinos for a long time, but this was the album that really helped carry her beyond the regional scene, and it broke through on US Latin radio, and it helped establish her in Mexico too. The song peaked at number 6 on Billboard's Hot Latin Songs chart, and it won Regional Mexican Song of the Year at Premio Lo Nuestro, quite an important award in the Latin music world. And over time, it became one of the central songs in her mythology. You know, when you think of Como la Flor and those opening notes, just those first few words are enough to summon the whole image of Selena. You know, her voice, that gesture she does with her hands, the warmth of her and of her artistic persona, the ache in a lot of her songs, and the rose that she, you know, holds in her hands in a lot of the promotional materials around this era. Como la Flor, what a song. The second single, interestingly enough, after La Carcacha, which was also a success, but this one was a whole different level. I personally love this song. How do you feel about it?
I really like this song too. I think she's just so irresistible. Like, I think she's adorable, and like her performances are so full of like she really conveys the emotional weight of the lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
Selena has this really infectious enthusiasm while performing, and you can hear it on even recordings of her. And you can hear how thoroughly she inhabits the emotional landscape of the song that she's performing. And Como la Flor is just so delightful. It is such a wonderful song. It's so sweet. And I think one of my favorite parts about it is, and I think you knew I was going to go here, is how chintzy everything
Yes.
is.
Yes.
You can hear how dated the equipment they're using to play and record the song is. Like the
Right.
gated reverb on those like really silly drum machine fills that we keep like laughing about privately. And there's like a preset that sounds like a bandoneon or like an organ or something that features so prominently. And I'm gonna geek out for a second, but
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that what they are playing on this recording, and probably almost every other Selena recording, is what's called a rompler. So it's an electronic keyboard that doesn't have the capability to synthesize sounds. So it relies on these like preloaded, uneditable patches that come from flash memory, hence Rompler, right? And so you
Okay.
can just power on the keyboard and get started. Like the most that you can do is like this bitimbral thing where you have split or dual voices, but otherwise you can't really like alter the sound. And it really sounds like this is like a preset on one of those Romplers. Like I had a Casio Rompler when I was a tween. It was my first digital keyboard. And I remember being like so excited that I could switch between like so many pads and like
Mm.
synthetic strings and like guitars and percussion and like instruments that you don't really hear in like Western contexts,
Yeah.
right? Like, and I don't know, like to me, hearing this like cheap keyboard sound makes me feel so nostalgic.
Yeah, it's definitely the sound of it. Chintzy is the word. Like that's, but it's also like when you hear those later, well, not later, but maybe like mid-career Leonard Cohen albums, like
Mm-hmm.
various positions and I'm Your Man. They have a really dated synth sound. Definitely establishes the music in a very specific time. And I feel the same about the sound of those synth drums or like you mentioned, the romplers, I guess, on Selena's songs. I especially love the drum fills that you can hear that repeat throughout her music a lot of the time. Like
I know.
you hear
She's
it a
just the
lot.
same one.
It's like doo-doo-doom. It's like, I don't know, it's just got, it sounds so unnatural, but I think it's cute. I think it's like endearing. I really like it. I don't find myself wishing, oh, I wish they played this on real instruments or whatever. Like I don't feel that at all. It is chintzy. It is a little cheap sounding. I think that's why for the longest time I kept a lot of Selena's music at sort of at arm's length. Like I felt that it had this chintzy kind of sound that I felt was maybe like not what I was interested in hearing at the time. But if you maybe look past that, or in your case, you love it, right? You love the sound of it.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it was a little harder. But to actually latch on to what is being played and the song itself is really gorgeous. So you just kind of, at least for people like myself, you got to kind of power through it and really listen to the composition. I think it's a gorgeous composition, and yes, those drum sounds and those synth sounds are a hallmark of the era, but there's just so much going on. So you talked about how she inhabits the emotional register of the song, and that's definitely in here. This is actually a very sorrowful song. I mean, the refrain is "Ay, ay, ay, como me duele." Oh, how it hurts me. It's like she
Mm-hmm.
sings that over and over again. It's a sad song, but she sings it with such
She said
gusto.
something like she's got like she knows her lover found somebody new in the first verse, right?
Yes, it's definitely that kind of song, which, also is a hallmark of the Tejano music genre, and this whole type of cumbia. This type of cumbia is still being made in the world, like with using these sounds, using these drums and these keyboards. It still exists.
I hear it at like the state fair in North Carolina. Like I've definitely heard like people play this kind of music.
Yeah, people are keeping it alive. This song is quite significant for her, and one reason we might think of it as her signature song is it was often the encore performance at the end of her shows. She sang it a lot. People definitely made a clear connection between Selena the artist and Como la Flor the song.
It was also speaking of live performances, Como la Flor is, at least from what we see in the movie about her life, right? Like it featured like two prominent like live moments for her.
Yeah.
Right. Like one is where like there is that crowd crush and they had to stop the show. And then she like slowly eased the crowd into like singing it.
Yes.
Right. And like that's iconic.
Yeah, which I don't know if that actually happened that way, but just the fact that the filmmakers chose that song already speaks to its place in her canon, so to speak, for that moment. There are conflicting reports on whether this was her favorite song. Some people talked about how she loved singing this song. This was her number one favorite song to sing. Other people, like I think her brother, talked about how she was getting kind of tired of singing this song. But you and I were just sharing the performance from the Astrodome in Houston. And
she crushed it.
That was towards the end of her career. And if she was bored of singing this song, you definitely could not hear or see it in that incredible performance. That's a barn buster. So I come away, or rather, I think, artists' relationships with their songs are often nuanced and they change with time, but her heart was still fully in it when she was singing it.
And when they performed it live, they still had those little drum fills and the save like synthesizer. Like
they're still there.
For like this massive like concert at the Astrodome, right? There's like 50,000 people in attendance. So they've got like
yeah. Well, maybe we'll hear that drum fill again in our next contender.
I think we're gonna. Our second contender for Selena's signature song is the title track from her fourth album, Amor Prohibido, which came out in 1994. And this song was a smash. It made it to number one on the US Hot Latin Songs, which is a Billboard ranking. It was also number one at the end of the year for Billboard's Latin Songs. It hit number one in a bunch of other different charts related to Tejano music, Mexican music, US Latin pop. So this song was just absolutely a smash for her. It was her first solo number one on the Hot Latin Songs chart. And it spent 9 weeks at number one, which is like pretty impressive. It won Regional Mexican Song of the Year at Premio Lo Nuestro. I probably butchered that.
That was good.
It's fine. And it was inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame this past year, actually.
Yeah. Wow, this past year, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, 2026. And it's on Rolling Stone's 500 Greatest Songs of All Time. So this song has clearly made an impact. And I think the what for me like is so compelling about the song is that the theme of the song is so enduring, right? Like this love with somebody from the other side of the tracks that others disapprove of. I mean, she kind of lived that briefly with her, with her husband, right? If the movie is any indication of the disapproval of their relationship, but just the lyrics are so plaintive and she's singing so soulfully. But I feel like this embodies the sound that she was like known for, right? Like
for sure,
it's poppy and it's an earworm like that. "Whoa, whoa, baby" that she
Yeah.
sings. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, that's right. A couple different things I want to just quickly point out because we've been talking about her solo albums. Of course, Selena had a long career before she went off and solo, so to speak. But there's actually a little bit of nuance to that. She had a long career performing with Selena y Los Dinos, her backing band. But she still continued to perform and to record with Los Dinos. They continued together, but after she signed to EMI Latin, her major label albums were generally released under the solo name Selena instead of Selena y Los Dinos. So, that's the credit we see. But, for all intents and purposes, it's still one career, right? It's a single continuation of career. It's the same creative team behind her. It's the same musicians. Well, actually, some of them for the most part. So yes, it's a solo career because that's sort of how they chose to market it. But it continues to be Los Dinos are in there, performing and writing songs and stuff. So just wanted to point that out.
What does Los Dinos mean?
I don't think it means anything. Like the dinosaurs.
Oh, it's okay. Yeah, I would say, is it the dinos?
Yeah, the dinos. That's what I think of. Is it maybe the name of somebody in the band or something? I don't know. But yeah, and then the other thing I wanted to point out is something you brought up, which is the subject matter of the song, which to me is very 90s Mexican telenovela. It's all about forbidden love between people of different social statuses, right? And that is, I think, the reason why I'm pretty sure this song was the theme song to multiple Mexican telenovelas of the era. So Amor Prohibido being the big one, taking its name from the actual song. And it's a very fun song. It's breezy, it's definitely poppy in a very appealing way. You pointed out the whoa, whoa babies that are in there.
So cute.
It is cute. And I also, as far as the arrangement goes, the instrumental arrangement, I really like the fact that the song is continuously, like, constantly peaking with the band going blam blam. There's a lot of big hits by the band over the course of the song. Baby, bah, bah, like they're really hitting it hard. It's a song that sort of stops and starts because of that. But it's fun. It's catchy. It gets you moving. It brings some dynamics to the song. It's probably not as I don't know. I want to say deep. I don't want to say deep. I think maybe like less emotionally stirring than Como la Flor or some of these other songs that we're going to be talking about. But it's still lovely. It owns its sound. It's cheeky, and it works perfectly. There's a reason it spent 9 weeks at number one, like you said, of the Billboard Hot Latin Songs chart. There's a reason it's certified platinum 7 times. There's a reason it's been covered by so many people. It's a song that a lot of people think of when they think of Selena.
Definitely. And I think also, something interesting about this song is it's actually one of the very few in her solo career that she had a co-writing credit for.
Yeah, that's right.
She so I didn't do enough research for this part, but like I'm so curious about like what her role was in this particular song, like what she wrote. Like she was like, I have a concept, and then they kind of like filled it in, or like maybe she had a lyric in her head. Like, do you know?
I don't know. I actually don't know. I would imagine it's something similar to what you just said. Like maybe she brought along an idea of what she wants the song to be about, and then her songwriting team of her brother and Pete Estudillo maybe worked on it. I'm not sure. I didn't look into it either, but I like it. I like that she's on there as a songwriter. I think she does that a few times throughout her discography. So the album that this song comes from, that this song is the title track to, Amor Prohibido, is a huge album. And you're going to see that reflected in the fact that most of the songs that we talk about today for Selena's signature song contenders are from Amor Prohibido, because it was just a smash album. It was the first Tejano album, as we mentioned, to reach #1 on Billboard's top Latin albums chart. Like, it had a tremendous impact, and it's hard to overstate that. And I think the core of it, when we think of Selena as an artist, most of the songs that the general public thinks of, which is a big factor in what we consider for signature song, come from Amor Prohibido. So that's why our next contender is also from Amor Prohibido.
Let's get to it.
Si Una Vez was written by Pete Astudillo and A.B. Quintanilla and produced by A.B., and it's one of Selena's sharpest, most forceful vocal performances. This is her doing something totally different from what we've been talking about so far. She is in full defiance mode. The song is a sort of mariachi cumbia hybrid, and the concept of the song lyrically is the narrator looking back at a bad love that didn't work out, but not with longing, but with anger, with this visceral disgust, with this newfound clarity that brought along that resentment, that anger, but not just at her former lover, but also at her own former devotion. So it's a bitter song, and it's within that tradition of, angry mariachi breakup songs that I really love. And this was also pretty big for her. It peaked at #4 on Billboard's regional Mexican songs chart. And with time, it started to become a bigger song for her. This is also one that's received some new attention with TikTok, a song that's sort of gathered steam as time has gone on. And its legacy has only grown through live performances, through covers, through remixes, and also in a lot of cases, what we see in these TikToks, for example, is these young people reacting to her singing for the first time and being like, oh my God, look, can you hear this? Are you hearing this? Are you hearing what this girl can do? Because she is really operating at a whole different level locally here. Do you resonate with this angrier side of Selena?
Well, first of all, I think it's funny because I ask you every episode, like, is this on TikTok? Like, for what do you know that it's on TikTok?
For once I do, yeah.
Yeah, I love this song. I think it's like feisty, and like there's like a snarl to her voice, in certain lines. She
sounds pissed.
Yeah. Like talk about like living the emotion inherent in the song. Like I love hearing the side of her performance. She had such a limber voice. Like, she could do so much. She was so expressive, and I think that this is like, I didn't know there was a whole like subgenre of like mariachi, like angry breakup songs. But like, I'm here for it, man. Like,
oh yeah,
I feel you, girl.
Those are usually sung by the women in the mariachi band. If you ever encounter a mariachi band and there's a woman in there, she's probably going to sing a really bitter, angry breakup song. So it's kind of nice to hear Selena participating in that tradition. I mean, look, if you look back at our previous contenders like Como la Flor, it gives you this tenderness and this vulnerability. Amor Prohibido has this cheekiness to it, but Si Una Vez, that's got bite. That's got wounded pride. It's got anger. It's got theatricality.
I was going to say it's a little over the top.
It is over the top, and that's one of the things I love about it. She's in total command of her voice here, and it's not Selena as a sweetheart, or Selena as a martyr, or Selena as this tragic figure. She's this shows off.
She's pissed.
This shows off her force, her ferocity, and I really like that about it. Now, I wonder if when people think of Selena, they think of that ferocity. I don't know. I think her image is is a little different from that. So maybe that's a point against it as a signature song contender. But it definitely shows off a side of Selena that other contenders don't. And I appreciate that about it.
Yeah, it really shows what she's capable of, vocally and emotionally. But I would agree with you that I don't think that this style of singing is what she would be remembered for. Like I think, you know, when I think of Selena's vocals, I think of like this soulful, evocative, like, you know, sensual, like um deeply expressive. And I mean, obviously this is deeply expressive in a certain way, but more I think in terms of like longing
Yeah,
or, you know, love, as opposed to being scorned
for
by
sure.
a lover.
Yeah, I understand that. Notably, the song was covered by a bunch of artists, including Ivy Queen, Girl in a Coma. Manny Manuel had a big success with a salsa reimagining of this song that made it to number one on Billboard's Tropical Songs chart. And there was also remixes by artists like Play Skills. I mean, this song has had a life beyond Selena's own version of it. Yeah, I like it a lot. I'm just happy that she was able to showcase this side of herself on record, and also the performance of this song in the Osterdome show that we talked about. That was a great performance. So if you're gonna check that out, you're gonna see that, and you're gonna think of it as a highlight. I'm certain.
I'm excited. I'm so looking forward to listening to that concert album, which is something that I almost never say. I don't really like listening to concert albums.
Oh, I
But
know that about you. Yeah, you don't really
yeah,
like live records.
no, there's like a
Why?
handful that I don't know. I just like it. I,
I remember sending you a couple times, sending you music to be like, "Hey, check this song out," and sending you a live version. You're like, "Send me back the studio album version. I don't want,
I
I don't
did
want
not
this
do that.
live performance bullshit."
This Drek.
Yeah, what is this? There's an audience in here. You can hear people clapping. No. All right, maybe we can move on to our next contender.
Our fourth contender for Selena's signature song is the second official single from Amor Prohibido, and it is Bidi Bidi Bum Bum, which is like so fun to say, right?
Yes.
It's such a fun, cute song, and she's got a songwriting credit for this one too, which is pretty interesting. Maybe I was mistaken about her not writing very many of her own songs.
I think she became more involved in Amor Prohibido particularly.
Okay. Beady Beady Bum Bum made it to number one on the US Hot Latin songs chart, which is, you know, she already done that with Amor Prohibido. And it charted on several other Mexican and US Latin music related charts. This was her second solo number one, like we said, after Amor Prohibido, and it spent 4 consecutive weeks at number one. So not quite the staying power of Amor Prohibido, but still pretty successful. And it won Song of the Year at the 1995 Tejano Music Awards, and was also recognized by BMI at its Pop Music Awards as one of the most performed Latin American songs of that year. It's been covered in tributes, and it featured in the Google Doodle for Selena, honoring her life.
Wow.
Yeah, I think that's really cool. I checked it out, actually. It was really cool to look at. I Googled it, and this song, I know this is not your favorite. I'm sorry to spoil but
Why do you want to
take
steal my thunder for my takes, for my opinions?
But it's so fun. It's so cute. Like, you can't not sing along or like dance a little in your chair when the song is playing.
It's definitely a cute song that I like. I would not say that I dislike this song a lot. I did say in our private conversation that you insist that you insist is canon to our podcast. That this is my least favorite of these six. I stand by that. I think it's my least favorite of these six. It's because it's so slight, and it's not trying to be anything bigger. So I shouldn't hold it against the song. If I have to rank them, this would be at the bottom of my ranking of these six songs. But I like it. This song really shows me. It really lays out just how closely related like this type of Mexican cumbia is with like reggae. Like this is almost a reggae song. You can hear it. Like you can imagine this being playing on reggae radio. It's got the backbeat guitar to it, It's playful, it's funny, it's cute. It is a minor song to me, I think by design, what does it itty bitty bom bom mean? Do we know? Does that?
It's the beating of her heart.
Oh, okay. So it's like,
it's like whenever I see you, like my heart flutters.
Yeah. So it's like it's like Kylie's padum padum before, like many years before Kylie released that song.
Yes.
This was definitely a huge song for her. Like this was all over the place. I definitely remember hearing this as a young child.
That's why I was surprised to hear you say that it was a minor song. Because, like, no, like, I think I had heard this song on the radio, like, in English language radio in, like, BFE, North Carolina.
I meant minor artistically. I didn't mean minor as it wasn't a big hit. Of course, it was a huge hit. One of her biggest. I mean, I think this has a shot at being considered. Well, it's definitely among her top 5 biggest songs for sure. There is a re-recording of this on the Dreaming of You album that I think that her band, I mean, of course, as we know, this album was released posthumously. It has some English language songs and then just kind of an assortment of other things that were added after her passing. The version of Bitty Bitty Bum Bum that's on Dreaming of You, I think, feels a little more limber to me and a little, I don't know, it just feels like more of a song. So I actually prefer the re-recorded version. It's, from what I understand, it features her vocals like the original vocals, but it's got a different backing track, and I don't know, to me it just feels like it's got a little bit more oomph than the original. But all of these are songs that I like. I do not dislike any of these songs. And you mentioned the 2017 animated Selena doodle by Google. What I read is that this was created in collaboration with Selena's family and the Selena Museum.
She has a museum?
I did not know she had a museum, and now I want to go.
It would be so fun.
Where is the Selena Museum? Let me check it out. The Selena Museum is located in Corpus Christi, Texas.
I was going to say it's got to be in Corpus Christi. That's what I figured.
I would love to go. You know who would love to go to the Selena Museum? My friend Magu.
Magu?
Yes. I still remember her. I still remember a few years ago, we were in St. Louis for a wedding. Magu came to a wedding with me in St. Louis. And we were just like walking around a mall. And I can't remember which store it was. Maybe it wasn't Hot Topic, but it was like one of those kinds of stores. She found this huge, this like denim skirt that's got Selena plastered all over it. And
that's so cool.
Yeah, it's awesome. She bought it and I was very happy with it. And I think of Magu when I think of something like the Selena Museum. I think she would love to go there. We should do some sort of signature song trip and go to iconic locations of our various songs that we've mentioned or artists that we've mentioned.
That would be amazing. Yeah. But then I think we're gonna have to start monetizing so we can get money to do that.
Maybe I will open a buy me a coffee page so our listeners
send us to the Selena Museum.
Hey, that's actually not a bad idea. Maybe I'll do that. If you're listening and you want to help us out, you want to finance our trip to the Selena Museum in Corpus Christi, Texas. What else is there in Corpus Christi, by the way?
Not sure.
Okay, because I've never been, but I would go to the Selena Museum anyway.
God, if they had like, do you know what trip pants are?
No.
So, like, speaking of hot topics, so like they are like those big jeans that like the legs are like super duper wide, and you wear them with like a chain kind of belt or whatever.
Oh wow. Okay.
Are you not familiar with these? These were
No,
like
but
so popular in the US.
I can picture them for sure.
So, like, if they had Selena trip pants and not a skirt, I would 100% wear those.
Yeah.
Cool, bitty bitty bum bum.
Yeah, Bitty Bitty Bum Bum is a fun song. I don't want to take anything away from it. It's definitely super popular. I totally understand why it's sort of synonymous with the more playful side of her as an artist. If you want to hear, if you want to listen back to Selena and not be bummed out about how her life ended, then you would think back to something joyful and fun and you know, unburdened like Bitty Bitty Bum Bum. It's not something I will go back to a lot. And I do prefer the pre-recording, but I appreciate it for what it is.
I think that covers it.
Okay, let's go on now to our fifth contender for Selena's signature song. This is the last song in our list from Amor Prohibido. As you can tell, we mentioned 4 tracks from this album among our 6 contenders, so big deal, this album. No Me Queda Más was written by Ricky Vela, who was the keyboardist for Selena y Los Dinos. And the song was produced by A.B. Quintanilla. And following the cumbia pop lift of Bidi Bidi Bum Bum that we just talked about, the forbidden love, cheeky melodrama of Amor Prohibido, this song feels more like Selena is stepping into a much older Mexican ballad tradition. This sort of mariachi pop that is filtered through other subgenres like bolero ranchero that feature strings, that feature trumpets, that feature a slow, formal sense of heartbreak. And this song peaked at number 1 on Billboard's Hot Latin Songs chart. It spent 7 non-consecutive weeks there and finished as Billboard's most successful U.S. Latin single of 1995. But to me, No Me Queda Más is significant more than its chart success because it gives Selena a chance to inhabit that classic language of what they call noble suffering. You know, this virtuous longing that you hear in a lot of other famous artists and influential artists like Javier Solís, like Pedro Infante, like Amalia Mendoza, or like Vicente Fernandez, if you want to go, in that grand sense of it, where the singer or the narrator of the song, if you want to call him that, has been wounded, but they refuse to buckle and to give in to ugly feelings. They refuse to collapse into bitterness. Their lover is gone. The dream of them being together is over, but they have this sense of dignity of bearing the loss in a sort of beautiful way. And that's what I really appreciate about it from a thematic standpoint. I also happen to think this is a gorgeous song. I love the little bends of the melody, the little twists of the melody. It's also very stately in its production. It's definitely sticks out a little bit from the quote unquote chintziness of a lot of Amor Prohibido. And Selena just belts it so well. Like, she's really doing a powerhouse vocal performance on here, and she's really harkening back to that long tradition of Mexican bolero that has never really been her main thing in her career. She was never like mainly that type of performer, but she really does it really well on this particular song. Where do you stand on No Me Queda Más?
Well, I really appreciate getting a little bit of the context for it because this is something that would be like completely unfamiliar territory to me. This style of music and knowing that there's this tradition of songs of this particular genre that address some of these same themes, right? Like that helps me understand the song a lot more. And appreciate it a lot more because I honestly like think this is my least favorite song of the bunch. I think her singing is great as usual, no complaints there. But for me, the arrangement feels melodramatic and old fashioned.
Yeah.
And like, I know that may be the point, and that there are some aspects like the strings and the trumpets, like that are very typical of this particular genre of music. But like, to me, it feels like it's, the pastiche that my mind was calling upon was, like kind of like 40s and 50s, like American popular music.
Mm-hmm.
Even though, like now, because of what you just said, I understand that these are actually like Mexican American like song conventions.
Yeah, and you don't have to like it for that reason. Like if it doesn't hit, it doesn't hit. I do think maybe it's useful to understand it in that context because it maybe illuminates the heritage of the song. The song comes from. I think it's cool that this is such a showcase for her voice, at least. Like you said, she sings it really well. It shows Selena as not just like a charismatic pop star, but like a classic vocalist. It's got this sense of restraint, of control, of dramatic phrasing, sorrow embedded in there. It proves that she could step into a traditional ballad mode and still sound very confident, and still sound at home, and still pull it off. This sense of noble suffering, I think, is more than just I'm sad. It's I've lost. I know I have lost, and I will bear that loss with dignity. And I really like that. I don't know if it's like the kind of thing that you could very easily make fun of if it was applied to the wrong type of song. Like, can you imagine an emo song with that concept? It's completely
It's so tired.
embarrassing and pathetic. But when it's accompanied by such a soulful performance, I don't know, it's something about it that I feel like it's very compelling. I like that. In any case, very different. We're gonna do a quick change up now, not just of style and genre, but also of language, with our sixth and final contender for Selena's signature song.
So our final pick for Selena's signature song is the only English song that we will be going over today. It was released in 1995, posthumously, on her album Dreaming of You, which was also released after her death, which had the intention of becoming her breakout crossover single and album. The record company was expecting it to be a smash. And as we've talked about before, some of her songs gained a new mythology when paired with the circumstances of her death. So this song was one of the last things that she recorded before she died. The song was recorded on March 5th, 1995, and she died March 31st, 1995. And apparently she was sick while recording this vocal, which I find like so hard to believe because she sounds so excellent. And it was like she did it all in one take.
Yeah, this is like your first take. I wonder if this was meant to be like just like a guide vocal.
Yeah, I don't know. She crushed it though. Dreaming of You debuted at number 1 on the US Billboard 200 charts in August of 1995, and it moved 300,000 Oh my God. It moved 331,000 units in the first week alone. And she was apparently the first Latina solo artist to debut at number one on this particular chart. Yeah, so this was a bid for commercial success for Selena, and
Yeah,
was part
so
of this plan that was, abruptly thwarted by her death.
yeah, so she had the biggest success of her career with the Amor Prohibido album and its singles, and all these record executives were like, well, that can translate to the English language market. Let's do an English language album. And then, from my understanding is that, because of her passing, she couldn't. I mean, she only recorded 4 English language songs. The rest of Dreaming of You is Spanish, including some old songs that were sort of remixed and re-recorded for the album. So it is truly tragic that it's sort of an incomplete vision. The idea behind this album and what it could have been was unrealized because the timing of the recording and her death and it's still we still managed to get this handful of songs that are quite beautiful, but it's hard not to wonder what it could have been, right?
I don't have any stake with any of my like identities or descriptors, that would tether me to the massive cultural impact that Selena's career, was for Mexican Americans, specifically Tejano culture. But I can feel the magnitude of that loss, when I listen to these songs that came out after she died. And I can't help but feel like, heavy about it, like it feels really, really sad.
It's awful.
And yeah, like it just like it's unacceptable. I mean, she died when she was 20. She was killed when she was 23.
It's totally senseless. It's a death that just it feels all the more painful because she was ripped from life at the very where her career was fully blossoming, and you can't help but look at her career and have this profound sense of loss, of potential cut short, of she accomplished so much during her brief time on Earth, but she could have done so much more too, right? Like all those, we have, several decades of Selena artistic works that were taken from us. So it's horrible for us as consumers of art. It's horrible for her and her family, of course, obviously. It's horrible for the culture. And Dreaming of You, the song, not the album, I think is quite lovely and serves as a nice little, I don't know, epilogue to her career, so to speak. It's very different from anything that she'd done previously, but I think it still works, and I think you can still hear Selena in there.
I love this song. I said that at the beginning, even though I have these associations with it with like ex's ringtones or whatever, like I love this song. Like it's gorgeous. It's like a little slow jam.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to sing along to. And I think it's like the ultimate, like, middle school dance song when you're like 12 and like in the gym and like
it's very much in the lane of Vanessa Williams, Celine Dion, sort of, some sides of Gloria Estefan's career, early Mariah ballads, maybe, I don't know, maybe even a little Disney adjacent sort of romantic pop too. Like you can almost imagine this being in the soundtrack to a Disney cartoon film. Yeah, no, I don't say that as a bad thing. Like it sounds like it could have been sung by a princess staring longingly out of her window or something.
That's exactly what I pictured when you said that.
Yeah, and though it is an English language song, there is a little bit of Spanish in the bridge, which we mentioned earlier. Spoken word bridge section with her saying "Mi amor, como te extraño" and all these very
How I
dramatic.
miss you.
Yeah. It's kind of, that part is a little funny because it's a little cheesy.
It's goofy. It's really goofy. I kind of cringe a little when I hear it, but I also smile. No,
Yeah.
the one that gets me in this one where she's like, "Am I there? Am I there?" Like that one.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
so precious.
Do you think? I mean, it's. I can't imagine her doing a song like this on any one of her previous albums, or like in the other side of her career that we've explored so far. It just seems like completely different from anything that we've heard. It's still incredible that we still managed to hear Selena as a artistic persona in there. I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I don't think this would have ever, like, this style of music would have ever wound up on anything. And her Spanish language dominated albums, but like I mean, this song is like, to me, really, really clearly exemplifies like this sound in 1995 that was pervasive on like American popular music stations, like this like slightly R&B inflected, like slow and, but like it's like sparkly and shimmery, and like it's definitely, I think, designed for success on the mainstream US American radio market.
Yeah, this was written by Fran Goldie or Gold and Tom Snow. It was produced by Guy Roche, and it was originally written for, as you mentioned, an R&B group called the Jets, who turned the song down. It was the only song, the only new song recorded for the Dreaming of You album that was personally chosen by Selena. Because she liked the song's lyrics and the message, and her brother initially didn't like the song, but she still recorded it. And it was good that she did, because it's a beautiful song. It's a beautiful performance. It's a nice little way to cap off her, her career. That sounds so bad to say, but it is the very last like massive single that she released. And if we have to look at her life and look at her work as one continuous, arc, it's bittersweet that it has to end on a song like this. Maybe there were other songs. I mean, we just talked about our 6 contenders, but maybe there are other songs that we could have included, our honorable mentions. Do you have any honorable mentions that you thought about including in our list here?
I sure do. She's had so many songs. Like, she's had like so many freaking hits, and
she had a lot of albums.
Yes, that is true. So I think for me, one that was tugging at me the whole time was "I Could Fall in Love," which is another English crossover slow jam from Dreaming of You. But like I said, I remember that being the first song that I ever heard from her, like that I have like a conscious memory of. It is such a gorgeous song. It is so impeccably performed. Like all the things that like you love about Selena's music, that is truer to those Tejano roots, right? Mm-hmm. That like vibe with like there's strings here and it's evoking kind of the same things as No Me Queda Más. Mm-hmm. But you're getting it in kind of this like, I don't know, like whitewashed distilled like form, but it still works. It's such a great song. I love this song.
Yeah, it's good. I like it too. It's a good pick. I think that would have been an interesting one. I just can't think of any one from our list that I would have removed in favor of that one.
Yeah.
But also a song like La Carcacha, which we mentioned was one of her breakthroughs, the first single from Entre en mi mundo. That was also a contender for me, or an honorable mention. El Chico del Apartamento 512 was also a big one. She had such a long career, like you mentioned, that there's really so many different songs we could have included. Notably, she recorded a cover of a Pretenders song, translated into Spanish. I think the song is Back in the Chain Gang, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she recorded a version called Fotos y Recuerdos, which it works. I love it. It's also from Amor
It's really
Prohibido.
good.
Yeah, it's also from Amor Prohibido. I think we just had too many Amor Prohibido songs at that point. But yeah, those are our honorable mentions. And now, Lane, comes the part of the podcast where we reveal our individual picks for Selena's signature song. I wonder if we're going to agree. I'm going to go first because you went first last time.
Okay.
My pick for Selena's signature song, I had it. It was very clear to me from the start, even though a lot of them were very worthy contenders. It's very informed by my childhood and the way that we saw Selena in Latin America and Colombia growing up as a kid. And it's very informed also by the fact that it continues to exist as one of her more ubiquitous songs. To me, Selena's signature song is the title track to her album Amor Prohibido.
Awesome.
What did you pick?
I think that selecting Selena's signature song, it really comes down to, it's a question that is beyond like just the success or how well known the song is and in which market, right? But before her death, she was known for her Spanish language songs, right? And they were inspired by all different kinds of genres in Latin American music, Tejano music, cumbia, other Mexican styles, and Latino people and culture are who made Selena the legend that she was years before she was legitimated by having this English crossover success after she died. So for that reason, like I feel and have felt since we were deliberating these, as popular as some of her English songs are, I just feel compelled to pick a Spanish language song. Like I think that seems more authentic to who and what built her success. That being said, my pick is also very commercially successful and it's critically lauded. My choice for Selena's signature song is Amor Prohibido. It's got it all.
We did it.
Baby.
We found the song. I like when we agree because it's like, okay, we're successful.
Mind meld.
The premise of the podcast, we did it. Very good. Okay, so listener, what do you think? Do you think it's Amor Prohibido too? Will you agree with us? Or is it Como la Flor? Or is it Así una vez? Or is it one of the songs that we didn't even include here? Please let us know. We are always happy to read your comments. Thank you so much if you have commented. Rate us 5 stars. Share this podcast with your friends. If you know people who like to hear people talk about music, this is the podcast for them. Please, we want to grow. We have another episode coming up that I'm very excited for. It's going to be the final episode of season 2, which is kind of arbitrary. Seasons don't really mean a lot for this genre, but we will be taking a very brief break and then coming back for season 3. But we are going to end season 2 on a high note. And I wonder, Lane, if you remember what we decided on for our season finale.
I remember. Do you want me to say?
Yes, please.
So we're going to talk about one of Jorge's former favorite bands. And a band that I still kind of like, much to my chagrin. It's U2.
U2. It's going to be a beautiful day when we talk about U2.
Don't let it get away.
Yeah. But you know what? I still haven't found what I'm looking for. So I don't know. Yeah.
Okay.
It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting. You mentioned that they are a former favorite band of mine, and that is true. I was a pretty big U2 fan in my teenage years and maybe like early 20s up to like 22 or something when I got real cynical. So it's going to be interesting to revisit. It's going to be interesting to talk to you about them, and I wonder to what extent we will disagree. Thank you, Lane, again for hanging out, and we'll see you guys next time.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.